What's up, guys? EA Sports has announced the player ratings for NHL 23, and there's some that we have to talk about. But before we do that, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and make sure to comment in the comment section below. And just a quick word for our sponsors. This video is sponsored by Bet99. So if you like fantasy hockey, football, or other casino games, please sign up to Bet99. Use our link in the description below. Our code is YoungGuns1. You must be 19 years old and up to play and play responsibly. And the other sponsor, Mind Foundation Canada, they raise funds and awareness to find cures for neurological disease and disorders. They're primarily focused on mental health right now. So if you want to donate, the link is in the description below. So, guys, let's start off with the top 10 players overall in this game. Starting off with what we have in front of us. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I look at the top 10 list, and I don't really disagree with it. A lot of them are the right overalls, I would say. McDavid being the best player in the league and being the best player in the game makes sense. Austin Matthews, Cale Makar, and Nathan McKinnon all being the same rating, that kind of makes sense. Patty Kane at 93, is he a bit too high? Maybe. But even at 93 overall for Patty Kane, I don't think that's horrible. Roman Josi and Victor Hedman being tied, that makes sense as well. Draisaitl being there, that makes the whole list in the top 10, at least so far that we've seen. I think they all kind of make sense. I don't really think there's one that's bad or good. I think the only one that potentially maybe gets a downgrade a bit might be Patty Kane, just because I know that he had a good year last year, but he is getting old, and I think he's on a bad Chicago team, and although he had a good year, I do still believe that Nikita Kucherov is at least better than him, or in that sense. So maybe I would lower him down to a 92. But besides that, I think the list is good. I think the top 10 list makes sense. I don't know if you guys want to chime in, but that's kind of what I think.
Yeah, what are your thoughts, Chris?
Well, the list as a whole is correct. Besides Patty, to be honest, I think Leon Draisaitl is better than Patrick Kane, so I'm surprised they're kind of the same rating. But when it comes to the 95s and the 94s, see, that's where I disagree with. I think in other video games, there's 99 overall rated players, and I think Conor McDavid is a 99 overall rated player, and I feel like that's how it should be. I don't know why they never give players their 99 overall. Maybe in like the HUT, is that what it's called? A HUT, Hockey Ultimate Team? Yeah, I think maybe there they have 99 overall cards.
Well, I think how it works kind of is like the reason they do the ratings the way it's like 95 and 94 is because I think in HUT, you don't want to give a base card of 99 because that doesn't happen even in FIFA. It doesn't happen that way. Like if you look at Messi, Ronaldo, and even Mbappe, like especially this FIFA, but in past FIFAs too, their base cards have always been 94, 93 overall, and then they get like special cards as the game progresses that ends up going to a 99 eventually. So I think that's kind of what they're trying to do here with McDavid, Matthews, Makar, McKinnon.
Okay, if you're looking at a multiplayer perspective, I would understand that. But like if for guys who play franchise mode or just like play now or whatever,
I honestly think Patty.
But I don't disagree with the list. I think the list is good. There's
I like the list, but look, I'm not gonna cry over spilled milk and be like, oh wait, Patty Kane should be a 92 instead of 93. It's just 1%, right? So
I'm gonna be honest, I would put him at 89.
Nah, I would put him at 90 at least, but it is what it is, and Patty Kane is regarded as somebody that maybe it's because of his skill, maybe that's why he's up there in the top 10. Obviously, his production level as well. So look, for the most part, I think it's pretty fair that
let's move on to the interesting lists now. This is
the
where
right
it gets
wingers. Okay, so Jordan Kyrou has a great year last year. So does Tarasenko after dealing with a lot of injuries. But for me, the one thing that I do not really like is Mark Stone being at 89. He's been dealt with a lot of injuries, so we haven't really seen much from him. We do know what he's capable of when he's healthy, but usually you have to take that in consideration. You don't give the guy a 90 for not playing the most part of last season. For me, he should be an 87, in my opinion.
Yeah, these usually update throughout the year. I would probably start him off at 86, 87, and then maybe if he does well, it goes up.
One guy
starting off like that is ridiculous.
One guy that there's two guys on this list that I'm very surprised about. And the reason I'm surprised that they're not on this list is just because they had really good years last year, and I think they're better than a lot of people give them credit for. But I look at this list and again, I don't really think there's much to deliberate here. I think Marner being behind Pasternak and Rantanen to me doesn't really make any sense.
I agree with
think
that.
Marner
That's another thing I was gonna say.
I
I
think
mean, it
Marner.
could change throughout the year.
Yeah, but I think Marner should be
But
at least have the same overall as Pasternak and Rantanen, maybe even one higher. The one that surprises me is the fact that Jordan Kyrou is listed as a top 10 right winger. I know he had a good year last year, but I look at two guys that weren't mentioned or aren't on this list: William Nylander and Timo Meier. I think these are two guys that are probably better than Jordan Kyrou in the NHL. Now I don't know what overall Timo Meier is in the game, but I think he should be in the top 10 list. I think he should be 88 overall because I think he had a fantastic year last year. And I think William Nylander as well should be on this list, at least ahead of Jordan Kyrou. So unless they're both equal in overall, I think Kyrou might be a bit too high. I would give him an 86 instead of an 87 because I don't think he's up there with the top 10 right wingers in the league. But the rest of this list, I don't really disagree with. I think Mark Stone's a bit too high, kind of like what Christopher mentioned. I think he's a bit too high simply for the fact that, he's dealt with injuries and stuff too. And I think the rest of this list is pretty good. I would move Mitch Marner a little bit higher, and that's about it. And maybe Kucherov and Kane have the
So
same
as of
overall.
right now, we just have little nitpicks, but let's see if our perspectives are gonna change or
this
opinions
is
are gonna
the
change for this
one.
one.
This is the one where it makes absolutely no sense. In my opinion, Panarin is the best left winger in the league. Besides, Alex Ovechkin's getting old, but you know what? Alex Ovechkin would be number one. Panarin would be number two. Jonathan Huberdeau and Panarin, I don't think they're equally matched.
Johnny Gaudreau, based off the season he had last year, should
Real
be
good
at
based off
least
too.
92 in my opinion. Kyle Connor is such an underrated winger.
Yeah,
He
that
doesn't
too.
get the recognition that he deserves, essentially. So honestly, that really sucks, and it shows right here that once again, people are not giving him the recognition. Just a
And why is
90.
Brad Marchand not even on?
You
Oh
know
no,
who
he is
else?
there. Sorry,
Yeah, he
my
is.
bad.
You know
Sorry, I
who else
didn't
is
see.
not on this? You know who else is not on this list that's underrated and I think should maybe not on this list, but is a guy that should get a lot more credit? JT Miller. I think
Yeah.
JT Miller not being on this list is surprising. Look, I think Gabriel Landeskog
Gensel's not even on this list.
I think Gabriel Landeskog is too high. Now I know that Colorado won the cup, so obviously all their ratings are going to get inflated because of the fact they won the cup. But I don't think Gabriel Landeskog is an 89. I think he's an 87, maybe even an 88. But as an 89, I think it's way too high. And I think with how good JT Miller has been for Vancouver over the last couple of seasons, and even Jake Gensel to some extent as well for Pittsburgh, and even Jason Robertson, who's not on this list, I think there's a few other guys that can definitely be replaced in this situation. I even think Matthew Tkachuk as a 90 is way too high, and people might call me crazy on that. But I
They're
don't
basing
think
it off last year, Luca.
Yeah,
That's the
I
thing.
don't
Same thing
think.
with Philip Forsberg, 89. It's because he had a good year
Yeah,
last
I
year.
know it's based on last year, but it's a lot of it. EA is very weird when it comes to their ratings because they determine it based on a lot of different factors. And I know that Tkachuk had a really good year last year, but giving him a 90 rated, is he top 15 in the NHL? Like realistically, in terms of forwards? No, he's not. And so I don't think that he should be put in the top 15 or even the top 20 forwards in the NHL.
And he also benefited off of Gaudreau's fantastic year. Will he have the same thing with Barkov? I don't think so.
Like you were saying, Chris, before, the ratings could change throughout the year depending what happens. So we'll see what happens there.
With guys like of this pedigree, I guess. Yeah, they're elite guys. Usually they don't go down by much, maybe 1 or 2 points. Even 2 points is pretty significant.
Let's move on to the next one, centers. And here's my problem:
completely.
Evgeny Malkin. What the hell?
Yeah.
90? Really?
Seriously.
And Patrice Bergeron. We know he's up there in age, but he's literally if they were to choose another name for the Selke Trophy, it should be called the Bergeron Trophy because how many times he's won it and he's been nominated for it. So
I don't disagree with the Patrice Bergeron one. I think he's there defensively, especially he's there.
They should give him at least a 91 in my opinion.
But 89's fair. It's fair. I think 89 is decent.
Evgeny Malkin
I
should
just
be
don't understand why is
an
Braden Point not
86,
there.
87 in my
Yeah, Braden
opinion.
Point not being
Braden
there is.
Point, Zibanejad's not there. Zibanejad's good. Who else am I
I
missing?
I think
Uh,
there's two guys on this list that I would argue are interchangeable. First of all, I think Steven Stamkos as a center, yes, I do like that, but I think 90 is too high. I think he should be an 89. Malkin should not be anywhere near 90. He should be an 87 because of his injuries. And I think two guys that should be added on this list. One should be Mika Zibanejad, and the other one, I think personally, should be Braden Point. And I think
Yeah.
those two guys both deserve 90s. Zibanejad was fantastic last year for the Rangers. And the fact that he wasn't there, the fact that he isn't in the top 10 is very surprising to me, especially since Malkin's the one that doesn't make any sense. Simply
It's
for the
purely
fact that,
based off name. It's purely based off
yeah, it's
name.
based off name. You're
Something
right.
that EA does, and we've
that's
seen that.
word bribery.
Uh,
Yeah.
we've seen this, throughout the last, games that have come out. A lot of the stuff does not change. They tweak a
No.
little a thing here or there, but a lot of the things like GM connected that people have been clamoring for to come back, haven't came back, and they're putting in unnecessary changes that people don't really care about. Obviously, we
Yeah.
could do reviews on every single NHL game every year, but there's no point because it's the same crap every year. It's just different cover, and maybe they change the graphics a little bit, or they add a little, extra game mode, but no one really cares for those game modes.
Well,
Anyways, I
they
think
added women this season.
yeah, finally, it's about time. Jesus.
Yeah.
I
Anyways,
don't know
moving
about
on.
the women rating. Listen, I read that Nurse is a 90 overall. I don't know if that's true,
Anyways.
and I don't know if that counts like in women's. Like, if are you allowed to play with women's player with the men's players?
Yeah.
I don't. I find that weird. I don't
I,
know
I
how
do
that
I
would
do
work.
think that when it comes to this list, when there's like a top 10 or top players for like every single position, women should be integrated as well. Why is there a separate category for men and women? I feel like you should
Well,
value them equally,
well, I
but
mean
that's
they're
my
separate. They're
opinion.
separate in actual hockey. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
I understand that, but whatever. Let's go to the
Well,
next one. The
I
left defense ratings.
first of all, I disagree with a lot of these ratings. And I'm gonna start off right at the beginning with Morgan Riley. Morgan Riley should not be an 88 overall. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
86.
he should not be an 88 overall.
86 is good.
Number two, Rasmus
You're
Dahlin should not be an 88 overall.
not yet,
Um,
at least.
Yeah,
and
no, that's like what
and
84,
Yeah,
85.
I feel like Heiskanen, Dalin are purely there, and even no Hughes. I
no,
feel like
Heiskanen deserves his rating.
look,
Didn't
I feel
Shea
like
Theodore
Heiskanen.
got screwed in this one?
I feel
Quinn
like
Hughes got screwed in this one.
yeah, that's what I was about
Yeah,
to say.
well,
Quinn
Quinn.
Hughes. I think it's because
Well, he should be
they're
higher than
valuing.
he should be
I think
higher
they're
than Dahlin and
valuing his
Riley.
offensive game and not his defensive game, so that's where he loses points. But for Dalin and Heiskanen, I feel like they're too high for the moment. Maybe throughout the season they increase
Morgan
because they're going
Riley's
to be
too high.
playing, you know, with better players, and they're, and Heiskanen's going to be given a bigger role because Klinberg's not there anymore to be like the quarterback. It's going to be Heiskanen, and Dalin's going to be surrounded by better players, including guys like Jack Quinn, Owen Power. People are going to be taking the next step, like Peyton Krebs. There's a lot of things to look forward to on the Buffalo Sabres. So Heiskanen and Dalin, it's like they're kind of like assuming they're going to be there because of the team they have for this upcoming season, but they don't necessarily deserve it at the moment. And
And
for
it's
Quinn, yeah, that's
sorry,
what
no,
I want
I
to
was
say.
gonna say it's also awkward. Like you have two guys tied at 93, and then jumps right away to like 88. Like
Yeah.
there's like I feel like there should like Devon Taves should be a 90 in my opinion, or an 89 at least.
You know who?
Morgan
Who's
Riley
surprising?
should be
First of
lower.
all, one thing that I'm very surprised about, and I know that it's dependent on left D and right D, and it depends on what they have him listed as. But Chris Letang not being on this list, I mean, he could be in the right D1, but if he's not in the right D1, I'm very
Let's
surprised.
take a look.
Okay, he is in the right D1. All
Yeah.
right.
There
Okay,
you go.
because if he wasn't in the right D1, I'd be very surprised. It's just
For
I don't
like
know what they
left D
listed
and
him
right
as.
D, it's kind of like hard to like remember that because it's so
Yeah, I
specific
would
what
just say defenseman ratings in
what
general.
side they play. But for this one, I feel like there's too much of a big gap in between Makar and Fox. Like I understand
Yeah.
Makar is like superior, but come on, man, like Fox should be at least a 92,
92.
I would say.
Yeah.
No,
Um,
anyone.
Nah, 92.
Letang
He's way
Letang had
better
a
than
very
Carlson.
Letang had a very good year. I would put him at least 90. And Dougie Hamilton, like, look, I understand, people like are always saying, oh, he's amazing and everything. But like, he didn't really move the needle last year. So for him being an 88, whatever. And Moritz Seider, maybe I'm biased towards him, but I think he deserves to be higher than that. I know it was just his first season, but what he was able to accomplish last year on a poor Detroit Red Wings team, he deserves a lot more. And I think giving him at least an 89 would have been a lot more fair.
Well, I
But
mean,
I
the
think,
fact that he won the Calder too should have given him some.
and Drew Doughty being an 89, he had an amazing start until he got injured. I understand that, but he didn't finish the rest of the season. So does he really deserve an 89? I would swap Maurice Sider and Drew Doughty, in my opinion.
Here's my, and this is why I wear the Bruins hat, because I find the Bruins got really, like, I don't know, I feel like it was underwhelming, the ratings for the players that they have. I think Charlie McAvoy and a lot of fans online are going crazy about this. They're like, how the hell is he tied with Pietrangelo, Ekblad, and Doughty? Like, and
You
personally,
know
I
what
think
else is
McAvoy is
surprising?
way better than all of those guys. I think McAvoy should. This is how I think it should be. Cale Makar 94, undisputed. Adam Fox should be a 92. Carlson 91, and McAvoy 90. I feel like that would be a
One
better.
guy that's left off this list too that I'm surprised about is Thomas Chabot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
but
I
you didn't.
think he's an 87 or 86. Like, he's under Moritz side. I feel like there's a
Yeah,
lot of
well,
guys with an 87.
I think Sider should be higher, and I think Shabbat should be on this list, and Drew Doughty should be lower, and
And
Dougie
Dougie
Hamilton
Hamilton
lower.
should be lower
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Anyways, moving on to
Is there any goalie ratings? Will
I guess
be.
there's no goalie ratings.
oh
Oh,
Yeah,
damn.
that's shocking.
all the goalies are 0 overall, guys. There's no goalies.
Let's
I don't
see
know.
if there's any
I don't think they
goalie.
released the goalie ratings. Oh, wait.
You know who used to be a beast in NHL franchise mode back in the day? Tim Thomas.
Well, here, if you guys want a visual representation, here is basically what we have to show you guys in terms of the positions.
Yeah.
Oh, here,
Oh,
here we are.
goalies there.
There you go. Goalies.
Is there a way
So
to click on it?
You could zoom in, I think. But
yeah, but yeah, okay.
Vasilevsky over Shesterkin.
We
I don't know
well,
about that
no,
one.
you know why Vasilevsky's there? It's because he went to the Stanley Cup Finals 3 times, and let's give it to him. He is a very good goalie.
Okay, I
Yeah,
have a
but
few
Igor
issues.
Shesterkin performed better.
I have
I
a few
think
issues with this.
I think Sergei Babosky's up there too high. I think he should be
Yes.
at least an 87, 86. Eli Sorokin, we all know he had an underrated season, but 88 already? Like,
Dude,
come on. Your team didn't even make the
nobody's
playoffs.
noticing the fact that John Gibson is a 90.
He's underrated, but
He's
Jesus,
underrated.
man.
He's a
Like,
very good goalie.
Yeah, dude, as a 90, what has John Gibson done in the last 5 years to deserve a 90 rated?
Well, what team has he had?
Doesn't matter.
Well, Carey Price is an 89 goalie,
look
but
at
he has
John.
a garbage team.
Look at
right?
John Gibson's stats over the last 2 seasons, and tell me if he deserves to be a 90 rated goalie. He doesn't.
Look,
He just doesn't.
Markstrom had a very good year. He
But
was
who was his
nominated
best
for the
defenseman?
Vezina, so we understand. And I liked his
Doesn't
time with
matter.
Vancouver
904,
Canucks.
903, 904 in the last 3 seasons. Like that, it doesn't matter. That's not a 90
That's
rated
decent
goalie.
for being on a
Bobrovsky,
crap
based off
team.
what's been going on these last couple of years, we do know he did, have a bounce back year last year, but to give him 88, I think that's a little bit too generous. I think an 87, 86 makes more sense. John Gibson, 87, 88 makes a lot more sense. Sorokin, whatever, it's like 88, 87, 86 range, whatever. I don't know who is missing here in your opinion. I think they have most of them right, in my opinion.
I
No,
think Carey Price is missing.
I think here's what I think the top 10 the way it is not that bad. The only thing I would do is Vasilevsky Shesterkin should be closer in overall. I don't
Where's
think
Fleury?
Fleury's an 85, 84.
Hellebuck as a 90 makes sense. Markstrom as a 90 makes sense. Thatcher Demko should be ahead of Gibson. UC Saro should be ahead of Gibson. Freddie Anderson should be ahead of Gibson. And Ilya Sorokin should be ahead of Gibson. That's my opinion.
No Jordan Bennington.
Where's Campbell? Campbell had a good season.
No
I'm surprised
Tristan.
he's
I feel like
not.
Tristan Jarry should be a little bit higher.
There's no Darcy Kemper either.
I feel like Tristan
Well,
Jarry
Darcy
should,
Kemper, let's face it, he's not.
no,
a-
yeah.
instead of Gibson and Bobrovsky being in the top 10, I think Fleury and Jarry should be there. But that's just my opinion. But I
Yeah.
think that pretty much is it in terms of this video. So
Yeah.
guys, now make sure to comment in the comment section below if you like these ratings. If you disagree with our takes, make sure to write that as well. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. And if you like more videos concerning NHL 23, make sure to let us know. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next episode of the Young Guns Podcast.